And Denver, you recently started like a girl club. What's it called?
It's called Girl Talk,
Yeah.
which I found from a creator on TikTok. I can't remember her name, but she had a Girl Talk club, and I thought it was the coolest thing. I reached out to her, kind of got information. Tried to start it last year, but again, any new club you start, I feel like is trial and error the first few years. So it's basically, I advertised it last year as like a space where all the girls on campus, young women can come and just kind of like a mini sorority type deal that's not toxic and not the stereotypical sorority. But talking to our teacher group too, I was like, that would be kind of interesting to open it up to everybody, just to advocate for women, yeah, especially young women, and to kind of let them understand why that's important as they continue on, not just in high school. I think for me, it was so interesting. This was the first election or first big like American political thing that I experienced in my teaching career, because last election was 2020. I was still in college. So I didn't know. It was one of those things where I was like, I wish this was something they taught me in my education programs. It's this stuff I want to know. Do I bring it up? Do I wait till someone mentions it? How much do I harp on it? It was just like a big question mark for me of, again, we hold space every single day, and the trauma dumping is so real. I mean, by the hour, tears, hugging to make sure that they're okay. I'm going to send you to your counselor, all of the above. So with the election, again, it was, I knew one half was going to be thrilled, one half was going to be distraught. So I didn't explicitly get any students that came up to me and started a conversation. And I think it's one of those things too, for me, not letting them down, because I don't even know. I'm 26. I'm not going to pretend like I know all the ins and outs of the political jargon and the specifics of everything. So I don't want to, I don't know, have them continue on with their day with this thing that I just pulled from thin air. Like, we're both kind of learning together. Yeah, I just remember thinking, like, I asked Jen, do I say anything? Because no one, hey, by the way, you're going to experience a presidential election in your class. How do you respond? That was never on my test prep. So she, we had a good conversation of, I think it's just important to, again, hold space. If they want to talk, let them talk. And again, just kind of remind them, you're going to be okay while you're here with me, or this is a safe space, all of that. Because it's so confusing already for them.
Yeah.
And I think social media plays a big part too, of telling them what to think and
100%.
telling them what side of history to be on. Mm-hmm. And so I do always like to say, when you're of age to vote, go do your own research. Right. Whatever that looks like to you. Don't let other people influence your views. Go believe what you have researched and want to believe.
Right. And I think one of the big things, especially in the district you guys are in right now, because you guys are in a Southern California school district, and we know there's a lot of students that are first generation, immigrants to the US. And we know as teachers sometimes that our students are maybe American citizens, but maybe their parents aren't. And regardless of how you feel about the immigration issues in our country, there is no question that these kids, it's not that their fault, it was not their choice. It was not any of those things. And I think for teachers because one of the things I got pushed back about was like, hey, like some of the things Trump has said about immigration, these kids have reason to worry. And I think that as a teacher, especially who works with kids who, like, I had a student who she wasn't able to join the Zoom during COVID because her dad, ICE, came to her house and deported her father that morning. And that is the reality of some of these kids' lives. And regardless of how you feel about immigration and immigration enforcement and all of that, one thing I think we should all be able to agree on is these poor freaking kids. And it is not their fault. They didn't make these choices. And it's so hard as a teacher because you have these kids who are coming in who are like, oh my God, like my mom is going to get sent back, or my dad, or, and it is really heartbreaking from the teacher's perspective because, like, number one, like, it's not my job to figure out immigration law. It's not my job to enforce immigration. It's not my job is to love and support and teach the kids in my classroom wherever they're at, whatever they have going on, to the best of my ability. And so sometimes that means that, like, on an election day, one way that I always like to hold space for my students is I would say, like, hey, we're going to take a minute and I'm going to let you guys write down everything you're feeling right now, anything that you want. And if you want to write in there that you want to see a counselor, you want to talk to me, whatever, like, just go ahead and write that in there. I will look over them. And if you don't want to talk, that's fine too. Because sometimes when we encourage them to, like, hey, why don't we talk about it? Like, there's going to be another kid in that class who's going to be like saying some things.
That's what I was going to say is there's always those groups of kids that are like, what? About what? I don't want to talk. There's nothing. Why is everyone, you know what I mean? Just the
or who purposely like antagonize and want to be that kid. So
just to be that kid. Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Want more of Those Who Can't Do in your life? Well, you can watch the full episode right now. Just click on that little box over there. You see it? Right down there? There it is. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Okay, bye.